All right, what's going on? Welcome to Insight with Irv. Look, a lot of us are getting distracted. This is the age of distractions. With technology comes a lot of amazing things. Obviously, with technology, we're able to get connected. With technology, we're able to get our jobs done faster. We're able to go through processes a lot smoother. But the downside of technology, which is what we're going to be covering today, is some of the distraction that comes with it. And it's not just technology. In fact, on here, I have four different things. What do we have? Yeah, we have four different things that I actually want you to pay attention to because these are distractions that are essentially going to be draining your bank account. So the first distraction that I want you to pay attention to, which is actually going to be kind of contradictory to what you're listening to right now. Now, hear me out when I say this, and I say this with love. I don't want you to go away from building yourself up, but I do want you to be mindful of this. You're probably getting distracted by motivational content, specifically way too many podcasts. You're listening to way too many shorts, way too many reels. You're listening to way too many audiobooks. Now, again, the reason why I'm setting it up this way, and the reason why I'm saying this, that I'm saying this with love, is because I am a strong advocate of education. I think that what you don't know ends up hurting you more than what you know and decide not to work on, right? But when you are continually listening to just a ton of podcasts and you're just going through books, and I was victim of this, or really not victim. I was that guy, rather, that I should say, right? Where I would post all the books that I would read, and I would go out there and I would say, just finish another book, hashtag 5th book of the month, hashtag 3rd book of the week, right? And then I would start to realize that my life hadn't changed. And I was ultimately just going through all the material in these books and in these podcasts just to make myself feel better, but nothing was actually happening in my life. Like, I wasn't applying it in my marriage to make my marriage better. I wasn't actually applying it in my business. I wasn't actually applying it to myself, like the whole hashtag 5 a.m. morning club, right? That lasted like 2 days, and then I would break that habit again. And so the reason why I set this up first as the first distraction is because sometimes we're listening to motivational content, and sometimes we're listening to motivational pieces and hashtag inspo pieces just so that we can feel better about ourselves, so that we don't have to confront the work or confront the beast that's in front of us that we should be working on. And so some of the things that we should be working on is, hey, maybe I can't sit in front of my desktop or my laptop long enough to get meaningful work done. Hey, maybe I can't put the phone down to have a meaningful conversation with my partner and just literally enjoy dinner. Like, I would rather work on things that are necessary, in that sense, than just say, hey, I just finished listening to another 35-minute podcast by my favorite content creator. There's a time and a place. And again, if it's not moving the needle, you should really start paying attention to that, because it's ultimately robbing you of your time. The second thing that is ultimately distracting you and just draining your bank account, which we kind of hinted to, is social media. Now, again, we live in the age of social media, right? Again, you're listening, whether this is Spotify, whether this is Apple, whether you are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, you're consuming social media. Now, the issue with that is that if you, again, go overboard with the consumption of social media and you're not using it to maybe learn something new, because again, you can learn something new, which kind of goes back to the first thing that we hinted. But if you're not using it, again, to your advantage, and you're just being consumed by it, then you are in this loop that just continues to drag and suck the time out of your day-to-day operations. This is gonna sound really weird. I don't think I've ever shared this before, but there's been times where I'm getting my day started, or I would be getting my day started, and rather than going through kind of like my ritual, routine, whatever you want to call it, right? Rather than kind of going through that procedure that I would go through every morning, which is I would try to not have any light in front of my eyes for a couple of minutes. So upon waking up, so whether that was a TV screen, which I don't really watch TV, but if that was TV, laptop, or even my cell phone, I would pray. I would, read at least a page out of the Bible, or at least a couple of verses, or even the verse of the day. If I'm being honest with you guys, I'm not a saint, right? Sometimes I would just catch, hey, what's the verse of the day? Okay, good. I read the Bible for today, right? So I would, even doing that, I would feel like I would have a better jump on my day than scrolling through social media. Now, that's not the weird part. Here's the weird part. And let me know if this resonates with you, right? I would there would be moments where I would kind of bypass that little moment right there of waking up, no direct light, just read maybe a page or two from the Bible. And then I would go about my day, whether it was having a cup of coffee or going for like a morning walk, right? Usually when I would have just that piece right there, like my day would be 10x, 20x, 30x productive. But the days that I would start off with just, and this is like interesting to me, is I would start scrolling on social media, I would feel tired and I wouldn't necessarily want to create content, and I wouldn't necessarily want to show up to the meetings with my team, and I wouldn't necessarily want to show up to my prospects. Now, I know that that sounds kind of weird if you've never been in that place, but I think that the reason, if I can pinpoint back to anything, is that when you're looking at social media, sometimes you're looking at where you're at in real time, all the mess that you're working through, and then you're seeing someone else, either your age or you're looking at someone that is far further ahead of you, that they make it look like they're not working on the same things that you're working on. And again, I know that I've covered comparison in other episodes before, but I think that beyond the comparison, I think what ends up happening is we're looking at where we're at and we're just not grateful. Like if I had to boil it down to one thing, it's just gratitude. And so I'm looking at, okay, I should be at the beach today, or okay, I should be, let's say, walking around the city, or okay, I should be, let's say, at Disney, right? Like whatever that is, not just for me, this is even for you. And then you start seeing that, I'm stuck having to do this, insert whatever that thing is. That is ultimately going to end up hurting you, and it ultimately ends up distracting you from those day-to-day operations that we should be paying attention to. And again, that we should be grateful for. So that's one thing that I've noticed. Logging on social media first thing in the morning can drain your time, and also at the end when you're trying to kind of just decompress from your day to day. Now I've used that time to, hey, let me connect with my wife. Let me see what she's done, because I'm literally working the entire day and she's out literally holding down the fort, right? So hey, what's up? What did you do today? Like, how are you doing? Like, how's your mental health? You want to grab lunch tomorrow? You want to go on a quick date? Those are things that now I'd like to work on, and I also like to have in front of me. The third distraction, really, that's again draining, is the conversations with doubters and lazy people. This one right here is one, like, we can control all of these right here, but this one really involves you looking out, like at your audience, not over the audience, but at your circle of who you have around you. Now, this isn't like, hey, let me just turn off social media. No, this is like, you may have to have a difficult conversation, because turning off social media, it's as simple as if you wanted to take it off your phone, if you wanted to just have a timer on your phone, you wanted to just literally, if you're just working from your desktop, you just take off all of the little plugins, like you're good, right? It's that easy. Airplane mode, it's done. But when you're dealing with people, you have to be very careful, because you could be dealing with a lazy person, and you could be dealing with a doubter or a negative person that's family. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes dealing with family gets tricky. And so having that conversation up front, whether you are setting a boundary with them of saying, hey, I love you, but between the hours of 9 to 4, that's like my time that I'm investing in myself. That's like my time that I have with my family, like my immediate family, whether it's my wife, my kids, whatever that is. Yeah, like no one's touching that right there. I'm really big on setting boundaries. And if you don't set boundaries, then what ends up happening is people end up taking your time, people end up taking your money, and people end up taking your resources, which is your attention, your focus, and your energy. And then at the end of the day, you start to realize, damn, I'm tired. Like I have nothing else to give. And it's because you've given so much of that away to other people that, one, they've misused it, and two, you end up feeling misused. And so you actually end up feeling tired, and you end up feeling like nothing's going for you in your life. So setting up those boundaries with people. And then last but not least, and the reason why I'm going to include this one and I'm going to say it a certain way is because I've been looking at my demographics. And the majority of the people that are listening to me are in between the ages of 25 to right around 44. But more specifically, men. So this next part right here is for the men. Obviously, ladies, if you're listening to this, then you can just insert your preference on here, right? Your cup of tea. But for the guys, women are distracting you, and women are draining your bank account. Now, I preface that and I say that, but I don't want you to cast all the power to women and just blame, because I know that some of the guys are gonna be like, yeah, that's right, he's on our side. No, listen to me when I say this. You're allowing your relationship with women to drain you. What does that mean? I don't think that a woman is draining you because you have the power to end the relationship. You have the power to have that conversation with her and say, hey, look, I think that I'm bringing more to the relationship than you are. You have that authority, that power in the relationship to say, hey, look, I'm going to step away from this because I don't think this is healthy for either of us. But I think that a lot of us have been spending too much time thinking that we are Return of the Mac and that we can please every single woman that we come in contact with. And so some of us are juggling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 women at the same time. It is draining your bank account. It is draining your mental health. And if you're honest with yourself, it is driving you crazy because now you're having to juggle. Okay, was it her birthday? Okay, who was I with last week? Okay, is this story going to match up with this? Dude, that is exhausting. Like, hear me out. That's exhausting. So if you're playing that game, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will say this. That's going to hold you back versus you either A, deciding to just be single, or B, deciding to just knock it down with one lady, right? Whether you are just looking for a serious relationship or if you are actually at that phase where you are looking to get married. Again, I know that this message may not be for everyone, but I know it when I see it because it's, again, going back to social media, some of us have seen things online where we feel that we are the Mac Daddy and some of us are just too broke to do that. Like, guys, you're too broke to be doing that. And if you're not too broke to be doing that, you're distracting yourself from being able to make more money and also being able to leave a real legacy behind, if that's what you're looking to do. But again, who am I to judge, right? So if you found value in this content, those are 4 different things that I want you to pay attention to. That's ultimately just draining your bank account. Those distractions are ugly. They get nasty. So again, if you found value in this content, hopefully this podcast serves you and it wasn't a distraction to you. And hopefully you end up getting some value out of this. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Don't forget that we don't promote or push anything on here. So really our word of mouth is you sharing it with a friend, you sharing it with someone that you think is going to get value from this. So if that's the case, go ahead and drop this link inside of their text message and say, hey, I think you should listen to this episode. But until next time, everyone, I will see you on the flip side.